Darian Canty. I did my research paper on Mr. Steve Jobs. So, topics that I was going through is his early life, school, beginning of his career at Apple, and the death of a genius. In his early life, well, right after birth, Steve Jobs was given up for adoption before he was even named by his birth parents. He was adopted by Clara and Paul Jobs, who named him Stephen Paul Jobs. His birth parents, Mr. Abdul Fattah John Daly and Joanne Skibble, wished that he be adopted by college-educated parents. His birth parents were not college-educated, but they promised his birth parents that he would be influenced to attend college. Steve Jobs was very intellectual as a young child. He was taught to read before he even attended grade school. He spent a lot of his spare time with his adopted father in the garage, tinkering with mechanics and electronics, and just experimenting with various things. He attended Reed College of Portland for a semester before he dropped out. He dropped out, and then over the next 18 months, he attended various art classes and one calligraphy class that really stood out to him. Steve Jobs first worked for Atari. He was a technician. He worked there for several months and then he quit. Then he traveled to India, where he visited Neem Karoli Baba at his Kanchi ashram. After he traveled to India, he returned to the U.S. Upon returning to the U.S., his appearance had drastically altered. He had a shaved head and wore traditional Indian clothing. At the time that he returned to the United States, he experimented with psychedelics like LSD. He once in the future, he said that was one of the most important things that he ever did in his life. Apple was created by Steve Wozniak by himself in 1976. Wozniak met Steve Jobs when Steve Jobs was in high school. They did a lot of work together and experimented with a lot of things. Wozniak made the Apple I and showed it to Steve Jobs, where Steve Jobs proposed that they sell it. In 1985, Steve Jobs created Next Computer. After Next Computer, he purchased the graphic group, which later was renamed Pixar. Apple decided to buy the Next Computer in 1996, bringing Steve Jobs back to Apple. Once at Apple, Jobs created iTunes, Macs, iPads, iPods, and many other devices. In 2011, he resigned as CEO of Apple, but remained chairman on the board. Jobs died October 5th, 2011. These are my references. Archive was my main source, and All About Steve Jobs, which had many of his topics and biographical information about him. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Yeah, what was the LSD you said you dealt with? Is that a drug?
Yes, it's acid.
Oh.
What inspired you to do Steve Jobs?
I work on computers myself, and I really like Apple products because they're well put together compared to PCs and Microsoft, which have a lot of glitches, a lot of bugs, and all that. It's like Mac is just a better product to me in general. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Canty.
Good evening. My name is LaDonna DeVille. I did my presentation on the father of video games. About the founder, he was born February 5th, 1943, in Clearfield, Utah. He graduated from the University of Utah and in a degree of electrical engineering. In 1971, Ted Dabney and Bushnell first invented computer space, which was a space war clone. It failed because it was too advanced for the time. The first Atari game system. Dabney and Bushnell invented this together in 1972. It started in the California area, and that was the first model of the game system. In 1974, Bushnell bought out his colleague and decided to make his own game, Atari for home version. And the difference between this game system was that the games were built into the system, and the controller was a joystick. The games that was included into the Atari was Pac-Man, Galaxy, Mario, Pong, and pole position. I apologize. And many more games. In 1977, the Atari 2006 was invented, and this was the new version of the game. And this time, the games was separately, so you had to buy them separately, but the joystick was still the controller. In 1977, Bushnell bought out Pizza Time theaters and called it Showbiz Pizza before naming it Chuck E. Cheese. Does anyone have any questions?
Tell me about Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese is a place where kids can go and play games and eat pizza and just relax and have fun.
Okay, and what kind of games do they have at Chuck E. Cheese?
They have, well, it first invented was the Atari game, which had the Pong game and Pac-Man and Galaxy and pole position. But now it has like the little balls, and you can play basketball, and you can they have even a jump rope game and many more games.
Okay. So you're saying that Bushnell got the video game?
Yes, ma'am. Started. Yes, ma'am. He was the inventor of the first video game system.
Okay. All right.
Any more questions?
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Duvera.
Thank you. I'm on the cited page. And I cited The Gamer, which is a magazine, the big game Reputation is his currency, which is another magazine, and Utah Tech Watch, which was a column on the newspaper.
Thank you, Ms. Duvera.
I'm here to talk about one of the greatest pioneers in computers and society. I'm here today to talk about Linus Torvalds. I'll be talking about 4 different topics: life, education, contributions to computer societies, and also some of his famous quotes. Life of Linus Torvalds. Born on December 28, 1969. Hometown was Helsinki, Finland. Travis' grandfather bought him his first computer, which he also started programming at an early age of 12. His parents were communists and politicians. His father also wanted him to be more social and more, let's say, more into sports and other social events. Education. He attended Helsinki University in 1988. He majored in computer science and informational systems. First computer class he took was in 1990. The class was called C Programming Language. This was started the research for the program called Unix. This helped him form the program named Linux Operational Systems. In 1996, he earned his major degree in computer science. Contributions to Computer and Society. His program is free to use for any studies. Linux software also is used for dependent on Web 2.0 services such as YouTube, Twitter, Google Search. Linux can be found in many computers such as smartphones, iMacs, PDAs, TVs, and also wristwatches. Many people use Linux because of the anti-free virus software. Some of the famous quotes that he used. Most good programmers do programs not because they are expected to get paid or get a bonus by the public, but because it is fun to program. And another quote is, there are lots of Linux users who don't care how the kernel works, but only wants to use it. This is a tribute to how good Linux is. In conclusion, today Torvalds is still in the lab thinking of many different ways to make his program better, as technology and computers also get more advanced. My references are Linux, information about the OS operational system, Life of Torvalds, a very brief and complete authorized biograph, a biograph of the Linux Informational Project, what is Linux, Linux.com. If there are any questions, please answer at this time. Thank you.
My name is Willie Calvin Gray Jr. and I'm doing my presentation on the father of photojournalism, Matthew B. Gray. The topic of discussion I'm talking about is life, education, the contribution to security, and the conclusion and the references of my research on Matthew Gray. Matthew Brady didn't attend school and he studied the regular type under Samuel Morse. Matthew Brady was born in 1822 in Warren County, New York. He died January 15, 1896 in New York at 5 o'clock along in Chicago. His parents' names were Andrew and Julia Brady. He started taking photos in 1844 of distinguished Americans. His desire to take and record photos is a contribution to computing. The work he used to take photos and the work that he used, how it's upgraded now today by it. Matthew Brady took photos of the Civil War. Brady opened up his own studio after learning from Samuel Morse. Brady is known as the father of photojournalism. The government did not pay Brady for his work, and Brady died alone and broke. These are some references I used to do my research. www.matthewbrady.com, www.encyclopediaworldbiography.com, and www.basestore.org. Any questions?